You know, for many of us, archery has become an obsession. When we're not bow hunting, we're thinking about bow hunting. We're figuring out or planning a way to get there. If you're like me, you care about what you shoot. You want every advantage you can find in order to make you a better shooter. Every year when the new bows hit the market, it's an exciting time. And we're all asking ourselves, is the new model better than last year's? So, it's time to test a new prototype. What better way to do that than to go out to Texas for a spot and stock Whitetails on the ground.
Western Extreme, brought to you by Bowtech Archery, refuse to follow. Can-Am, the facts say a lot, but the ride says it all. Irish Setter Boots, the hunt never ends. Shell Rotella, the engine oil that works as hard as you.
Well, this is the bow that I've been shooting over the last 3 years. This one I call the Jolly Green Giant, and it's the Insanity XL by Bowtech with a binary cam system on it. It had the flex guard that took the lateral movement out of it. It also acts like a sprocket. Both of them are actually tied together. The parallel knock travel was unreal. It was within a quarter of a knock all the way through its travel. This bow in particular was just a breakthrough for me, and there hasn't been anything over the last 3 years to really take its place that I would feel comfortable shooting and trying to make the shots that I do here on Western Extreme. And so I'm kind of excited about it because we're going to do a product comparison. And so this bow was revolutionary. It really worked very, very well. And then the brand new technology that just came out called the Boss that is about 1.5 inches to 2 inches longer than the Insanity XL. They've stiffened up the riser overall. It has that same binary cam. And branded right here on the bottom of the limb is a brand new power shift technology. This is unlike anything that's ever hit the market before because it's an adjustable draw force curve. So it's much more efficient in the number 1 position than a number 2 and a number 3, and they soften up. Now, how many times have you been in a blind and you tried to draw the bow and you had to lean out and you didn't have enough horsepower to get it back? Or how many times you've been in a very small platform in a tree stand, it's cold outside, you went to draw the bow and you could barely draw it. This allows you to have one bow that's a very smooth draw if you want to, and then increase the overall horsepower as you go up. But it's called the power shift technology with a brand new cam. Now this Insanity XL was a really great bow, but the new Boss right here has been completely redesigned. In fact, we can get right to the bolt so we can move our draw link modules and also our cam stop. The increased cable tension on the strings have allowed one of the hardest walls that I've ever shot. When I picked the bow up, I could not believe at how well it pointed. It's balanced better than any Bowtech bow that I've ever shot. And the result of that is my long range steady test that I do with a laser and also my 60-yard hold test really have allowed me to make the pin physically set. And my goal is to take both of my arms, pull my front arm against my back arm to create tension to make the pin physically set while I'm actually shooting. If I can't leave the pin in the target long enough for it to go off, most likely I can't hit it. Aim small, miss small. You have to be able to lock your joints together, use no muscles in order to create it. And this is the absolute ultimate combination of accuracy. I've often said speed does win the war in most cases, but having something to be able to hit your mark consistently that you have confidence in is what a bow is all about. And that's definitely what this new Boss is capable of doing. But the whole riser is completely redesigned. It's got the flex guard back again that took half the lateral movement out of the apexing of the arrow. It's got the binary cam system on it from top to bottom. The brace height is really forgiving. And many times, you know, a manufacturer will come out with a new bow and it might have a couple little gadgets. It might be a little bit better than the last year's. This one is a quantum leap. Quite excited about it. This bow is probably the single best bow Bowtech has ever built. My hat is off. So this week, we are in the great state of Texas, and we are on a cull hunt with our good friend Steve Torrance, world champion drag racer. So we're here for the next few days. We're gonna lay the hammer down with the brand new Boss. We're gonna show those deer that this bow is the Boss. Texas is one of those opportunities for sportsmen that you can go and have multiple tags in order to be able to hunt a deer. It's quite interesting to spend good time with the managers of the ranch as well as the hunters and realize that this entire education process has been going on for years and years and years, and what it's done is it allowed the quality of the deer to come up. Biggest thing is that you're culling the younger deer that you know that don't have any real horn potential, so that they're not breeding, and then you're also waiting for those deer to get to maturity. Our motto is, do not shoot young big bucks. And this part of Texas is fairly flat, and they set up with a lot of tripod blinds. I just don't have the patience, and being a Western guy, I love to spot and stalk. One of the exciting things about being out here in Texas is these javelina. If you move slow, you keep the wind right, and you only move as fast as you are quiet, you can sneak right amongst them. I'd worked around sneaking amongst them and slipped right into this javelina, and when it turned broadside, I was able to draw my new Boss bow, and my first arrow was out of the bow. Here we are in South Texas, and we're using our spot and stalk techniques that we use out west. Out here in Texas this morning, we had a nice little hunt on a javelina. This is a really neat animal. You're able to take 2 of them every single year, but they're really quite easy to spot and stalk, get really close. And the reason being is not because they're not intelligent, not because they're not a wily little animal, but when they're eating or they're walking around, they're really paying attention to what's on the ground really close to them. If you stay the right wind, you're pretty quiet, you can get right up on them, but really cool. Anyway, the boss, again, the boss is doing a great job out here in South Texas, and we're gonna be back to hunting some whitetails. This was a fun little hunt this morning.
We've been in South Texas for 3 days now. What I'm gonna ask you to do is put that bow down.
Put my bow down?
Yeah, you gotta put it down, because I've got a sure enough, like, certain kill for you. But the bow's not gonna be involved. We need to manage these South Texas yellow jackets. We've got the wind in our face, we probably need to go ahead and get upwind.
You ready? Here we go. Yellow jackets. He doesn't let me shoot any deer on the ranch, just yellow jackets.
Hey, you got him.
One shot to the engine block, killed 60.
Alright guys, we're down here in South Texas. It's the 17th of October. We're at my place. I've got so many deer that we need to take out of this herd. We're doing some management on some bucks that we don't want to breed. We want to knock them out before the breeding season starts. So I've got trail camera pictures of some nice deer that are just a little older, have a genetic trait that we don't want to carry on into our herd. Early bow season, South Texas. We're trying to make the hit list and get these things done. We got a buck that we're looking for in particular here. His left main beam is deformed. It's 6.5, 7-year-old deer, and we're wanting to take him out. That's who we're really targeting right now and trying to get him out, and we'll keep working on this management. The buck that we're looking for is coming in right now. We can see him walking through the brush coming up. Early season South Texas hunting Callahan Ranch. Man, I'm pumped up. Good night at the Callahan. Great management deer. Really unique on one side, just a typical mainframe 10 on this side. I'm super excited. I've had trail camera pictures of this deer. We've been watching him for a long time, and we watched him all last year, and he had the same characteristics on his left main beam. And we decided that we wanted to take him out of the herd. We're trying to promote some big trophy bucks down here in South Texas right now, and the management program that we go by is just time to take him out. So really happy to do it. I got Jim Burnworth down here in camp this weekend, and I've done some elk hunts and some mule deer hunts with Jim, but now I'm sharing my passion of South Texas whitetail with him because I'm a good old Texas boy, and this is what it's about for us.
Anytime that I have the opportunity to come and be part of the U.S. culling team, I'm in. Now, what's really cool is when Steve told me that we were on the Callahan Ranch and that he had leased a big portion of it, I was excited because this ranch has quite a reputation for putting on some really big free-range whitetails. This week, we're in the great state of Texas with my good friend Steve Torrance, world champion drag racer, and we're going to be hunting some whitetails.
I didn't have a problem with gnats at all until you got here.
I know, they like the way I smell. It actually has to do with your perfume you're wearing.
Hey.
What is that, Chanel number 5?
No, that's Tink 69. I use it. You got to be in the zone.
Dude, what is the deal? I mean, you invite me all the way to South Texas. I mean, it's a long ways from my house to bring the brand new boss so it can become the boss. And then you put me in the lousy stand and then you go out and shoot a buck last night and one this morning. What's the deal with this? Because you're a drag racer, are you just competitive and you just want to like show me up on Western Extreme or what? Was this his management buck, dude, that you were looking at on the trail camera or what?
Yeah, this is the one that we've been trying to see if we could get to come in. I thought he needed to take him out and just...
That ain't no management buck. Are you kidding me? Dude, that is a toad, bro. Oh my gosh. And you X'd him. Dude, no way. Guys, we're in South Texas right now with an absolute swamp donkey. Look at the mass on this buck. This is completely free range ranch, the Callahan Ranch out of South Texas right now. You know, it takes almost 20 years with age, nutrition, genetics, and culling in order to take a free range, you know, deer population and produce bucks like this. This is an absolute giant, Steve. And look at him, he's not even split on his G2 3/4s. He's just G3s, like he's just absolutely awesome.
You know, I've hunted in South Texas for a long time. Never had an opportunity at a deer like this, and he came out this morning, and it's unbelievable.
He's awesome.
Buck of a lifetime for me. This is what I hunt. I hunt South Texas whitetail deer. So, I'm speechless right now.
I'm so glad to have shown this quality of buck here on Western Extreme. We're laying him down. Well, at least he is. Tonight is my turn. You gotta put me in a good spot, bro.
I got a spot for you.
All right, this is it. Look at that. Look at that. Don't forget that buck right there. That's a monster. I want one like that.
Well, I'll see what I can do.
All right.
I got you here on a coal hunt.
I know where I rank. I don't know if Steve's a luckier bow hunter than he is a drag racer. A 200-inch typical deer that most likely, in this part of Texas, will win the Muy Grande. Now, those of you that are trying to increase your effective range and shoot longer distances, the Montana Black Gold sight really does help me for 2 reasons. Number 1, it has a second and a third axis. And also, a bow will shoot a straight line, but it won't shoot 90 degrees off of the riser, that line all the way out. So the way you compensate for that, I got Montana Black Gold to actually put an adjustable bubble level at the bottom of the sight. This is really key because now I can set the axis that the bow is shooting all the way out, go ahead and set the bubble level, and if I want to use my own canter that's very natural for me, I can go ahead and be able to do that. In order for me to shoot accurately, I really talk about statically and dynamically balancing the bow. So it's important that I have all of the weight that I'm going to be hunting with on the bow, and I'm putting a tight spot quiver on there. It's one of the few quivers that I found as a single piece that I've liked. It allows me to be completely adjustable. It also holds these very thin shafts really, really well. Now the other thing is, I've got these arrows, and for these javelina and for these whitetail, I'm going to be experimenting a little more with the stainless steel outsert insert on these VAP arrows instead of the aluminum ones that I normally shoot. But we're going to do a little testing with them right now. So we've got a target out here at 70 yards, and we're going to go ahead and poke at it in the wind, and we're going to see if we can wrestle up some X's. Well guys, this is out here at 70 yards, and this is a real test. A 20, 25 mile an hour wind right now, and that 3-degree offset with the Blazer vanes really does help. It spins it to stabilize it quick enough, but it's not so much that it adds too much drag, so it's kind of like the right combination to buck everything. Number one thing, building confidence every day before you go out and hunt. So, got the new bow, want to get behind it again.
I love to spot and stalk, so I'm going to spend a little time on the ground, working my way through, and hopefully being able to find a management buck.
No big green timber for Team Western Extreme this morning. We're in South Texas where it either sticks you, pricks you, or bites you. We're going to be in amongst the cactuses. The sun just came up, and we've got an overcast sky this morning. We're hoping that the deer are going to stay out for about another hour, but we got to capitalize on this time in the morning. So we're going to be right in the prime time, and we're going to go right into the danger zone where we know there's been a bunch of buck activity, and hopefully we're going to be able to sneak around and be able to have one. We'll either blow them out, or we'll be able to at least see a couple of good bucks, but this flat is full of deer.
You know, for many of us, archery has become an obsession. When we're not bow hunting, we're thinking about bow hunting. We're figuring out or planning a way to get there. If you're like me, you care about what you shoot. You want every advantage you can find in order to make you a better shooter. Every year when the new bows hit the market, it's an exciting time. And we're all asking ourselves, is the new model better than last year's? Is it worth spending the money on the new bow? And it's hard because the archery industry is moving so fast. It's hard to keep up with it all. Finally, the new bow arrives, and then I'm able to go out and test the prototypes. And I give them a rigorous test. I do all of the high-speed testing in order to have the real knowledge base for me to go out technically and evaluate a product. Not the way that it just feels, but really how it performs. Technical archery has really become a passion for me. Because we're on the Callahan Ranch, there's a bunch of cover and brush I can use to my advantage. But the hunt is exciting because there's lots of deer around. There's lots of opportunity to be able to spot and stalk.
We've got 2 smaller bucks and 1 deer to the right that I couldn't see. I'm feeding in this little sendero. The wind's perfect right now. We're gonna see if we can sneak around the outside and get close enough. We have no wind right now, very little. We're gonna have to be as quiet as possible.
One of the bucks that I had on the trail camera had just started to come into this little area, and he wasn't even 150 yards away. All I needed to do was move another 40, 50 yards, and I was gonna be in my effective range. But how do I spot and stalk with so many deer out in front of me, and then eventually get an opportunity to be able to draw my bow and fire an arrow? There's a big difference between seeing them and then moving into that final position and getting a shot.
Well guys, our buck was standing right here, and we were back over in this direction, and we were right back here in the brush pile when he came out, and then he finally gave us that broadside shot. Everything all came together. All right, now, okay, you can tell that it went through a rib or something. It's just a little bit serrated right there on the edge of the blade, but it's still extremely sharp. We're gonna go ahead and start tracking this buck up. I'm excited.
The hunt was a success. I got to shoot a really special whitetail. I got to compare my Insanity XL that I've been shooting over the last few years with my new Boss bow.
Good morning, South Texas. Here we are with an absolute magnificent buck. You know, I like deer with character, and that's what this deer has. When Steve Torrance invited me down to South Texas here to hunt on the Free Range Ranch, I was excited about coming down and being able to cull. Now, obviously, this buck will never make, as a 5 or 6 year old deer sitting here, would never make 180 inches. And this is the prime type of deer that they need to take out of the gene population in order for them to have some giants. That brand new Bowtech bow flawlessly did its job. The new Boss, really long axle extremely stable, new power shift technology in that cam, and we completely passed through that deer this morning, but it worked really, really well. It's really cool to come out here and be able to cull these deer like this. When Steve called us and told us that he wanted to come out and be able to look through some of these, I got flat excited. Grabbed 4 dozen arrows and headed on a plane. I want to thank you for joining us here on Western Extreme. We'll see you next week right here chasing something wild, usually out west.
Western Extreme, brought to you by Bowtech Archery. Refuse to follow. Can-Am. The facts say a lot, but the ride says it all. Irish Setter Boots. The hunt never ends. Shell Rotella. The engine oil that works as hard as you.
That ain't no management buck. Are you kidding me? Dude, that is a toad, bro. Oh my gosh. And you X'd him. Dude, no way.